Hunter, author of the Smoothie Book, and I'm here to talk to you about nutrition topics every week. Super excited about that every week. We're talking about mustard this week, and I have so much interesting information about mustard. So we're going to talk about the mustard seed, we're going to talk about all the different mustard products out there, we're going to talk about the health benefits, and then we're going to make a spicy brown mustard at the end of the show. So that is the topic for today. Really excited about all of that. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. I love talking during the show. So join the combo. And let's get started. So, mustard seeds. I have a whole bowl of mustard seeds right here. See if you can see them. They kind of look like quinoa in a way. So, the recipe that we're doing today for spicy brown mustard says you have to soak brown mustard seeds in vinegar for a day. So those have been soaking for a day. I had it covered most of the time, but I took the cover off. Our kitchen smells very nicely of vinegar now. I do like that smell. So anyway, we're going to start with the mustard seed and move on from there of all the different prepared mustard products. So what the heck is a mustard seed? So a mustard seed is a very small round seed from many different plants. There are over 40 different varieties of mustard seed plants, but there are 3 main ones that are used for cooking, for making the condiment mustard, things like that. And that is black, brown, and white. Black, brown, and white. And the white is like a whitish yellow. So those are the 3 main ones used for food. They come from the cruciferous family, which I thought that was interesting because they all kind of have that same like spicy flavor to them. So the cruciferous vegetables are cauliflower, kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, all that. So mustard seeds are actually in that same family. Pretty interesting. The seeds are usually 1 to 2 millimeters in diameter, so they're tiny, 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 tiny seeds. All parts of the mustard plant are edible. So the leaves, the seeds, and the flowers, which I looked up, I've never seen a mustard plant. But the flowers are bright yellow, so it kind of looks like the yellow mustard that we're used to. Kind of the same color, so that's kind of cool. It's native to the Mediterranean region, so northern Africa, parts of Europe, parts of Asia. But then, of course, it has expanded, grown in lots of different places now. Let's see, grinding and mixing these seeds with water or vinegar or other liquids creates the yellow condiment that we know as prepared mustard. So I used to edit a lot of recipes, and prepared mustard was always an ingredient used in recipes. So that means any kind of mustard, yellow mustard, Dijon mustard, spicy mustard, anything like that. So that is what is meant by prepared mustard, is the condiment that we're used to. The seeds are usually removed from the seed coats, and once they are, the seeds are so tiny. They can be ground into spice or used whole for cooking, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And also they're added to hot oil sometimes to bring out the flavor. So let's talk a little bit about the history of mustard seeds. So archaeological excavations, that's a lot of syllables there, in the Indus Valley and the Indian subcontinent have revealed that mustard was cultivated there. Also, the Romans were probably the first to experiment with making the prepared mustard as a condiment. They mixed unfermented grape juice with ground mustard to make, they called it burning must. And that is how the word mustard came about, burning must. I don't really know the root of that, but that's how the word came about. There was a recipe in an old Roman cookbook from the 4th or 5th century, and the recipe called for ground mustard seeds, pepper, a huge list of other spices, honey, vinegar, fish sauce, and oil, and that was all ground together, and that was used on a wild boar dish as a glaze for wild boar, spit roasted wild boar. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then, of course, Dijon France. We've got our Dijon mustard right here. Use that a lot in our house. It became the place for mustard making by the 13th century. So this is funny. I read this. So apparently there was a party put on by the Duke of Burgundy, and all of the guests together consumed about 320 liters of mustard during the party in one sitting. That's kind of insane. In 1877, one of the most famous Dijon mustard makers we know, Grey Poupon, was established as a partnership between somebody named Maurice Grey, who was a mustard maker. And his big thing was that he made Dijon mustard with white wine instead of the unfermented grape juice. So he was using fermented grape juice. And his partner's name was Auguste Poupon, and he was the financial backer. And so they came together to make this product called Grey Poupon mustard. And this is interesting. So anyway, I'm going to tell you this in a second. Dijon has become the capital of mustard, or the mustard capital of the world. So I thought this was really cool. Most Dijon mustard is made with white wine. And this mustard that I have there, it says right there on the label, Dijon mustard with white wine. That's pretty cool. I don't think I knew that it was made with white wine. Okay, so there are so many different types of mustard. In my research, I found 16 different kinds, and I'm going to tell you about them because I found it all so interesting, and I hope you do too. Okay, so just in general, mustard seeds, either whole, ground, cracked, or bruised, are mixed with water, vinegar, lemon juice, or wine, some sort of liquid, salt, and spices to create a paste or sauce, which is the condiment that we know of mustard. And they range from colors. You know, we know the bright yellow mustard that we use for hot dogs, and then there's brown mustard, and there's a range of colors all in between that. So the varieties of prepared mustard have a wide range of strength and flavors. So, you know, some are super spicy and some are really mild. And there are a lot of different factors into how that comes to be. So the basic taste and heat of the mustard are determined by the seed type, the type of seed, the preparation, and all the ingredients that go into it. So the white mustard seed is the least pungent, and black and brown mustard seeds have more heat and more spice. And this is interesting. The temperature of the water used to make the mustard also determines if it's going to be spicy or not. So the hotter the liquid, the more mild the mustard, because the heat does something to the enzymes of the little seeds and makes them more mild. And so hot mustard is actually made with cold water. And that's really interesting because the mustard we're going to make today is made with brown seeds and cold water. So it's going to be spicy, which I like. Okay, so let's talk about these 16 different kinds of mustard. Whole grain mustard is, as it sounds, made with the whole grain ground together, whether ground or partially ground. Then there's Bavarian sweet mustard, Oh yeah, I repeat that again later. So maybe we only have 15 types. Okay, we have 15 types. So Bavarian sweet mustard has very little acid in it, so they don't use a lot of vinegar, but they use a lot of sugar to preserve the mustard. I thought that was really interesting. And or sugar, applesauce, or honey. So I'm not sure if I've ever had Bavarian sweet mustard, but sounds interesting. Okay, and then there's Tichu mustard, which is a Romanian mustard. It's also sweet, and it's popular in southern and eastern Europe, and is used for grilled meats. Then there's Irish mustard. It's a whole grain mustard, and they use whiskey, stout, usually Guinness, or honey when they make the mustard. Then there's Karashi, which is a Japanese spicy mustard. Then Dijon. We all know Dijon. It originated in 1856. And, oh yeah, like we said, the maker of the first Dijon replaced that vinegar with verjuice, which was the green juice of unripe grapes. But now, these days, most Dijon mustards are made with white wine, like the one that we have right here. Then there's English mustard, which is a bright yellow in color and is a little bit thicker in consistency. It's stronger than other mustards and is used as a cooking ingredient or alongside cold or hot meats. French mustard, this is interesting, is dark brown, mild, and tangy and sweet. And even though it's called French mustard, it was actually originated in the UK. It was invented by Coleman's, which is a brand of mustard, and that was in the UK in 1936. Then there's yellow mustard. This is the most popular mustard in the United States. We all know that. I always think of hot dogs when I think of yellow mustard. And it's so bright yellow because it has turmeric in it. Which, if you've not seen my turmeric episode, check it out. Lots of good, interesting stuff about turmeric. But it is a naturally very yellow spice. Yellow mustard is, as we know, regularly used on hot dogs, hamburgers, sandwiches, pretzels, parts of salad dressings, potato salad, barbecue sauce, things like that. Then another variety, spicy brown or deli-style mustard. So that's going to be what we're making today. This is another common mustard in the United States. And the seeds are coarsely ground, giving it a speckled brownish yellow appearance. And it's spicier than the yellow mustard. Some deli-style mustards also add horseradish to it to give it even more of that like spice, like that eye-watering spiciness. So that's always good. They kind of have the same flavor, like mustard and horseradish kind of have that like really pungent, like you can feel it in your nose kind of feeling. Okay, then there's beer mustard. So instead of white wine or vinegar or juice, lemon juice, beer is used instead. And that was apparently invented in the Midwest in the United States in the 20th century. And it continues to be popular in local regions of the Midwest. I'd like to try beer mustard. I think that sounds really good. Then there's, we already did whole grain. So that is a repeat too. So we only have 14 different kinds. Okay. Honey mustard, which is exactly what it sounds like, is a blend of mustard and honey, usually a 1-to-1 ratio. And it's, sometimes it's used on sandwiches, sometimes it's used as a dip for things like chicken strips or chicken fingers. If you add vinegar and olive oil, it can be made into a salad dressing. Honey mustard is always pretty tasty. Then there is hot mustard. Mustards are prepared, let's see. So hot mustards are usually made with black or brown mustard seeds and usually made with the cold water like we talked about. So all of that like spiciness stays in. It's not like denatured or anything by heat. Then there are spirited mustards. I really like that. Like it makes it sound like they have a really great personality. They're very spirited. Where different alcohols are used. So, for example, whiskey, cognac, brandy, yeah, any of those things. And then, oh yeah, and then we already said sweet mustard, which I already said. So that's a lot of different kinds of mustard, and mustard is just so delicious. I'm so glad I like it. Hi, Kelly. Thanks. I feel very festive. I have on my fall orange shirt. We still have dahlias in our garden, which is really awesome. So, thanks for joining the show, Kelly. Okay, so some general information about mustard. Mustard grows well in temperate regions. So some of the popular regions that it grows are India, Pakistan, Canada, Nepal, Hungary, Great Britain, and the United States. Black and brown mustard seeds return a higher yield than the white and yellow seeds, the white/yellow seeds. Okay, so there is so much information. There's a lot of different religions discuss mustard seeds, and all kind of in the same way, but all kind of a little bit different. So I'm just going to hit a handful of them, but I thought this was so interesting. In the Bible, Jesus talks about the parable of the mustard seed, basically referring to, so there's a quote, like a long quote, that he says that the kingdom of heaven is like a grain of the mustard seed. You know, it starts out small, but then it grows into this large plant where, you know, birds can live in it, and kind of just like the expansiveness of the world and heaven and all of that, starting from something really small. There are also references to mustard seeds in India from stories from Buddha in the 5th century. In Hinduism, mustard seeds are referenced in the ancient texts talking about the people's relationship with themselves and the universe. And Jewish texts also talk about mustard seeds, demonstrating that the world, comparing the universe to the size of a mustard seed, basically saying we're very small in the whole grand scheme of the world, to teach humility. And in Islam, they also talk about being humble and being, so apparently Muhammad said that I'm going to read something. He who has in his heart the weight of a mustard seed of pride would not enter paradise. So basically, be humble is what it's saying. So all of these religious texts are all like talking about like how the mustard seed is so small, but it's powerful and strong. It's interesting, really, really interesting, I thought. Okay, uses and cuisines that use the mustard seed. So many. Mustard seeds are used as a spice in Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh. So if you've ever made Indian food or any sort of food from those regions, a lot of times you take a lot of spices, including mustard seeds, and you heat it in either a dry pan or with oil, and to get all the flavors out. Yeah, they're usually fried in oil till they pop. The leaves are also stir-fried and eaten as a vegetable in these regions. In the regions of India, mustard oil is used, this is interesting, as a body massage oil during extreme winters to help bring heat to the body. In Bengali cuisine, mustard oil is the main oil used in cooking. A variety of Indian pickles made with mangoes and red chili powder and powdered mustard seed preserved in mustard oil are really popular. And let's see. Okay, so yeah, the seeds are used a lot in Indian and Bangladesh, in Sri Lankan and Nepalese cooking. And then mustard is used as a condiment in many Mediterranean cuisines, Southeastern Europe, Asia, and Americas, and Africa. And so it's one of the most widely used spice in the world. Spice and condiment used in the world. I thought that was really interesting. It's also used as an ingredient in things like mayonnaise, salad dressings, marinades, barbecue sauce. I think we kind of mentioned that a little bit before. And then in the Netherlands and in northern Belgium, I guess there is a mustard soup, which I would love to try. It has mustard, cream, parsley, garlic, and pieces of bacon. I think that sounds really, really delicious. So basically, it's in a lot of different cuisines. Okay, so let's move on to health information, and then we've got some mustard to make. Okay, so mustard seeds are a really good source of oil and protein. So the seed has oil as high as 46 to 48% in it, and the whole seed meal has about 44% protein. Studies are starting to link mustard to health benefits, ranging from lowering the blood sugar levels to increasing our protection from infections and disease. So I have four main health-related pieces of information about mustard. So mustard is a good source of nutrients. The leaves have a good amount of calcium and copper and vitamins C, A, and K. And the seeds are a good source of fiber, selenium, magnesium, and manganese. And mustard leaves can be eaten raw or cooked, and you can add them to things like soups and salads and things like that. You can kind of treat them like spinach, like you would spinach, but they're just a little bit spicier. Mustard is a good source of antioxidants. You know me and antioxidants. We love the idea. It helps our immune system. It contains antioxidants and other beneficial plant compounds that help protect our body against cell damage and infection and disease. It's a good source of glucosinolates, which are sulfur-containing compounds that we find in cruciferous vegetables because they're all in the same family. And they are activated when the plant's leaves and seeds are damaged. So basically, if you chop the leaves, so damaging is not a bad thing. It just means when they break. Or if you grind the seeds, things like that, these glucosinolates are released, and they are believed to stimulate our body's antioxidant defenses to protect us against disease. Pretty cool. Pretty cool and easy to do. Number 3, mustard is a really good low-calorie condiment to add to sandwiches, dip pretzels in, all that stuff. So it's not bringing a whole lot of calories. And number 4, last but not least, mustard is high in cinegrin, which is another plant compound. And studies have shown that cinegrin has lots of really good qualities to it. It could potentially be anti-cancer, antibacterial, antifungal, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. So, really good stuff. Okay, so how do we store mustard? The seeds can be put into an airtight container, put into the pantry or a dark, cool place away from heat. Apparently, they can last up to a year in a container. And our prepared mustards, we know best to keep them stored in a jar in the refrigerator. Okay, let's make some spicy brown mustard. It's from Serious Eats, so if you go to relish.com, type in spicy brown mustard, look for the one from Serious Eats. It's a really pretty picture. That's what we're making. Okay, so as I said, I took brown mustard seeds, and they have been soaking in white wine vinegar for a day. So that's what we've got here. And then, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to pour that into our trusty little blender. I have a hand blender here. I'm really excited. I've never made mustard before. Okay, and the next ingredient is 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. That is a good amount of salt. That is a good amount of salt. I think I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon. Okay, so that it doesn't get too salty. Okay. All right. And I'm not going to use all the spices because it does have a lot of different spices in it. So I'm going to use some, but not all. Okay. Excuse me. Half a teaspoon of turmeric. So we're just going to get that pretty yellow color. Natural. Ooh, yeah, it's already pretty. And next we're going to do a fourth of a teaspoon of ground ginger. And an eighth of a teaspoon of, where's allspice? A fourth of a teaspoon of ground allspice. It's a pretty strong smell, so I'm just going to do half that. We'll see how it goes. And that's it. Then we have water in case it is too thick, but we're going to see what the consistency is first. Okay. Excuse me, I need to get a little drink of water. Okay. So we're going to put a lid on. We're going to put our trusty top on, and we're going to blend. Exciting. I'm just gonna wipe the sides down because the seeds are getting a little stuck on the sides, but oh my goodness. Look at that. Looks so good. It smells like mustard. Here we go. Gosh, that was so easy. I mean, you have to, plan a day ahead and let them soak, but look at how easy that is. I'm going to take a little taste. It says to put it in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 days before you use it, but let's just give it a little taste. Really, 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 really good. Really, really, really good. I'm going to be making all kinds of sandwiches this week. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining today. Mustard seeds are super, super cool spices. So many things to offer, so many different kinds of mustard, or using the seeds for different sauces, things like that. I hope you all have a really great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again next week with a different topic. And I will be posting pictures of this mustard on my Instagram at Alli Shercliffe. Let me just add it in here so you can see it in case you don't follow me. Now you can. That's my Instagram. Okay. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye, everybody.